Well, it's there. You may not realize it, but he said it's there. That's why it's important for you to study. And all material, not just one or two things, but study all of it, you know. And that's true. I found that a lot of stuff when I was in the Air Force, you know, that I was become familiar with, and that and shooting. Well, anything you learn, well in school, all of that is still in your memory bank, and if you really need it, well, it's there, you know. But if you've never experienced it, well, then it's not there. You know, it's just difficult for you. But I found out that that's one of the main ways of doing things, and when you learn to do that and learn to apply yourself, that's another thing. And I think the main thing of all is to just don't let yourself become embarrassed, because when you do that, you're afraid, and that's not you can't think well when you're afraid, or when you're excited, or when you're real angry. You can't think well.
So he was giving you mostly like tips in public speaking, tips in poise, not necessarily things to talk about, talking points and such?
Oh, no,
Okay.
but just basically how to address an audience and how to handle yourself with an audience. Don't ever feel that the audience is pulling you. You got to be carrying them, because once you start to let a person lead you, well then you lose sense of a balance as to what you want to, and that's what you want to do. You want to represent you, or what you were talking about, and don't let them take from that. That's the main issue that they would try to instill in you, you know. And a good speaker, if you notice one, you can holler, scream, or whatever. You don't excite them, because they're not really there. They're not thinking. They see you, but they don't see you. They see what they're saying.
That's great. Do you remember how you prepared for your first talk in front of the city council?
I guess it was just basically some of all the things that I had reviewed in the past, in the military, and with other public speakers. I would study and watch them, how they, I guess, look and see is the way I learned most things, because I remember when my auntie, I was working in Dallas then, and I came to Commerce here, and they had her car at the Chevrolet house, and they were, well, she told me what she asked them to do to it. And when they got it up there, well, they wanted to do a whole lot of other things, and they had tore it down, and it was an enormous amount of money. So I told her, I said, well, why don't we just get the car? So I went up there, and of course I had been watching guys work on cars in Dallas and all around. And you know, I took the car back to the house and repaired it, just from what I had seen other people do and how they would go about doing it. And well then, shoot, I just took and put that together, and and I put it together. And in other words, if I see you sit here and watch you do something, well then, I can do the same thing, because it just automatically come to me as to how you did it, and what you did with what part, and what have you. And I can visualize all of that, and I just go and do it. And I don't know how, but it just happened, you know. And I've had talking with a lot of people. Well, they said that's how you go about absorbing things. Is you see something done and you do it. Because when I was a kid, though, I was real good at drawing. When I was young, yeah, I was real good on drawing. But what you don't use, you lose. You know, and that's a fact in life. What you don't use, you lose.
So was there not an occasion after that to make art a part of your life? Or
Oh, no,
No.
no. It was just something that I was doing at the time, and become a part of it. But that's the way that's the way I just see things. You know, it's you apply yourself and do the best that you can, and then once you've done that, well, then that's it.
when you met the city council for the first time, I'm assuming representing the Norris Club, you're speaking for them at the first. You guys have at that point met several times and had these Pizza Hut meetings to pull together the charter and developed the agenda, and you know what you're going to approach them for.
Yes.
What was it? What was that day like? What was the room like? Who was there? At what point was what did your speech come up? How did they respond? What do you remember about that first
Well,
meeting?
what I remember about that is that, see, we're well briefed. Well, I'll be well briefed on what we were about, and I was just, I had sold myself the idea that what was going to take place was something that we needed, and that's the only way that we were going to be able to do that, was to get them to respond to what we know is difficult and is right, that need to be done, and say words that would make them search their own soul, where that they would know that, well, we're wrong, and we've pulled the wool over their eyes, we've lied to them so much. It's time for us to tell the truth. You know, that's what once you strip a person down, well, then it gets down to the bare fact that, look, I am human, and I realize that there's a God, and there's also a devil, there's Satan, and it's one of the two that we're going to have to serve. We can't serve both. We can, but we can try, but what we're actually doing is still serving one. You're serving the devil if you want to lie to yourself and say that you're telling the truth, and you know that it's not true. Well, then you're serving the devil. Either if you want to say that what I'm doing is right, and there's no reasonable doubt that it's not right, well, then you're serving Christ. You're serving the one that you're supposed to serve if you want to go to that everlasting eternal life. But if you want to go to eternal hell, well, then, you know, there you are. But it's one or the other.
Mm-hmm. So you were pulling on that humanity, and
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. And did it work?
Yes.
So immediately felt like you were being heard.
Well, not immediately, but I would speak something to them that they would think about later on. They may not respond right then, but then you'd see things beginning to start to move in your direction. They would start making things better or doing things better because they had searched themselves. Because they knew, well, they felt at the time they were doing it that it was wrong, because they know they wouldn't like to have it done to them. Right. But then when they see that you know that, and they get discussing it among one another, well, then they'll come to their senses, to their right mind, and say, well, this is wrong. We need to treat those people right. We need to do such thing, do it right, you know.
So you're describing these are the conditions that the city leaves the Norris community in.
Yes. See, now it shouldn't be too difficult for a commissioner to know that in the Norris community we didn't have lights.